Hi, I wanted to just make a quick video about something that I struggle with, and I reckon a lot of people struggle with these days: smartphone addiction. So I definitely have a smartphone addiction. If I'm not being careful, I can easily be on my phone for 5 or 6 hours a day. I don't even know how. Just frequent checking of Instagram, emails, finding out information about things, looking up like the directions to somewhere. It's just such an integrated part of my life. 6 hours on my smartphone doesn't necessarily mean 6 hours of dicking around. I legitimately use it for practical life things regularly, even work things like calling people for work, texting people for work, researching. So there's lots of legitimate uses of smartphones, things that I could do on my computer, except my smartphone is right there. I can just access it anywhere. I don't have to go and set up a computer. But the problem I'm having with even legitimate smartphone use is that smartphones are used very close to the face. A lot closer than a computer screen would be, and the amount that I'm using it is really affecting my vision, not to mention, just my presence in life in general and how I'm living my life. I've tried very hard over the years to break my phone addiction. I am not in control of my phone addiction. No amount of willpower is going to stop me. I have been being very well behaved with my phone of late, but that still means 2 hours of screen time a day. I don't even know how. So I've decided that to take care of my vision, to take care of my engagement in the world, I have no choice but to switch back from a smartphone to a non-smartphone, also called a feature phone or a dumb phone. Another thing I like about the idea of moving to a feature phone is that Google tracks, or Apple, depending on what you have, it tracks everything. It knows everything about you, and we know this, and we're not so scared that we say, nope, that's not okay. I mean, we're perfectly scared, a lot of us, about it, but we're like, oh, but I really need my phone. No. So we are happy to sell ourselves in exchange for all this fun and convenience, even though we might not feel super comfortable about it. So I like the idea of having a feature phone that doesn't have all this tracking. This is not the first time I've had this idea, but there are so many things on my phone that I really need my smartphone for, things that I really would be disappointed to do without. So I've made a little list of the apps that I like to use. So I like to use my camera. It's great to have a camera in your pocket all the time, but I do have a digital camera that's not very old, like a little carry around one, not a fancy pants one. So I could just use that. My digital camera, not so good for just a quick snap to send to someone, but feature phones have like 2 megapixel cameras in, and that'll do the job for most things. Like if I just want to send a picture to someone. I check my emails on my phone, often when I wake up before I even get out of bed. And you know what? Probably would be good for me not to do that, for me to just check my emails when I'm on my computer, to not have that demand on me the whole time. So actually, being without that app would be good, although I could use it on a feature phone. They do have email capabilities, but I think I don't need that in my life. Also, it would be great because on a feature phone, you don't have to have an Apple account or a Google account. So if I don't put my email in there, less tracking. Another thing I use is Google Maps, but those are available on some feature phones, so I actually don't need to worry about that. Instagram, well, I do enjoy Instagram a lot. Just feels like a positive place, but then again, the advertising is really being ramped up lately, and since the algorithm came into Instagram, it's less good anyway. And now when you turn on Instagram, it has at the bottom, from Facebook. And I'm just like, I don't need you to remind me that you own this. It does not enhance my user experience. So a bit less Instagram is probably going to be really healthy for me too. And you can access Instagram on computers now. They have desktop application options. So, it's not like I can never use Instagram again. Next thing, photo editing apps. Well, I can get them on computers. I don't need to do it on a phone. Computers would be better as well because the distance between the screen and my eyes will be further. YouTube editing my videos, also can do on my computer. WhatsApp, I can use on my feature phone. So I don't need a smartphone for that. Internet to just quickly look things up. That's another thing I do a lot on my smartphone. But remember the time before smartphones when you could wonder something and not have the answer instantly? Like, that was probably quite healthy. So I think that'll be a little bit of an adjustment lifestyle-wise to not have the answers all the time. Feature phones do have the internet, but it's just more tedious to use, so I probably wouldn't reach for it as quickly. I save our app, so a spending tracker, but I haven't linked that to my bank account, so I have to manually input it anyway. And to be honest, I'm not that good at it lately at actually putting the money that I'm spending into the app, so it's not really doing anything, so I can do without that. I really love Google Keep for my notes. I think it's a fabulous app and I love that it's across all my devices, but will it kill me not to have it on my phone? Probably not. I can still access it on my desktop, and the feature phones have like a notepad note-taking app, so I can make notes there, and if I want to transfer it to my Google Keep lists, I can do it when I'm sitting at a computer. My banking app would be handy, although I'm with MeBank, and to be honest, their app is not so good. Their internet site is great. Their app, for an online-only bank, they really could do more with their app, really. So it might not be much of a loss not to have the app available on my phone. It means that I will be less tempted to do my banking on my phone though, so I will be going back to a screen, which will be good, although most of my banking is automated anyway. So it just comes down to a final 2 apps that I love to use that I would not be able to get on a feature phone. And those are Spotify. So I subscribe to Spotify and have gotten rid of a lot of my CDs because I just listen on my phone, and I listen to my podcasts on Spotify, and it hooks up to my car, so I listen to it in the car, I listen to it at home. I don't know that I would want not to have Spotify with me and just to use it on my computer. Being able to listen to it as my radio in the car, I love that. And the other app that I couldn't really do without is my Libby app. So that is an app. I think it is available across Australia. I don't know about other countries, but it ties into your local library. So if you have a membership at your local public library, the Libby app allows you to borrow ebooks and audiobooks from your local library, and they just download onto your phone when you've got them, and then they delete themselves when your time is up. So I use that a lot for audiobooks. So a bit like how I use Spotify. It's these listening apps that I would miss if I just switched to a feature phone. So that held me back a bit. So I've come up with a solution, and that solution is to get myself a feature phone and put my SIM card in said feature phone and use that for texts and calls and I don't know. And I would keep my smartphone and have it available to use for Spotify and Libby, but because it wouldn't have a SIM card in it, it would only work on Wi-Fi. The Libby app downloads the audiobooks so they're on your phone, so that doesn't need data. It just would need the Wi-Fi to download the book, which I can do at home. And then same with Spotify, you can download music to your device. It's still within the Spotify confines, but you don't need data to listen to it. So I could do that with podcasts and playlists that I like to use a lot, and still have them available in the car even though it wouldn't have a SIM card with data. And for the rest of the time, yes, having this still and on wireless at home, if it's on, I could still check social media, the internet, whatever, play games. It would still function, but this is where a little bit of self-control comes in, and a little bit of having a system, I guess. And that would be that I would have this thing off. It wouldn't stay on at all times. I would treat it like, I don't know, a Game Boy. Wow, that's probably dating myself a bit. But you know, you turn it on when you want to use it, and then when you're finished, you turn it off. So I think that waiting time while it boots up will be enough of a barrier to stop me from just like picking it up, having a quick look through, which ends up being me looking through for 20 minutes more. If you want to do something like this, but you can't do without your smartphone, or you can't afford to go out and just randomly buy another phone for no good reason, Like there are a few things that you can do to try and make your smartphone less appealing, and I've tried some of them. For me, they do help, but I want to go a step further. But they include putting a timer on your apps. So I have on Instagram and on Simon's Cat Crunch Time a 15-minute timer on those apps. So once the app has been open for 15 minutes over the course of a day, it shuts down, and the timer, every time you try and open it, the timer pops up and says, your time for the day on this app is reached, try again tomorrow. Obviously you can go through the back way and turn off the timer, like it's not child safe from yourself. That's a really weird way to phrase that, but you know what I mean, like you can override it, you're in control still. But it's just a few more steps and it's more tedious, and you have to be more intentional about breaking your rule then. So it's helpful. Another thing is to have it in grayscale, because all the colors and bright, they're pretty and they're attractive and they're meant to be like eye candy and make you want to look at them. So putting your phone in grayscale can also stop making it quite so attractive to that really basic part of your brain. I think doing this is going to be really helpful for me, because it's really making me stop and think about what is worth my attention. The amount of my life that I'm spending engaging with my phone is humongous, and when I leave my phone at home accidentally or something, the amount of times I want to reach for it can't, and so have to continue being present in a space. I realize how much I actually miss when I have my smartphone and give in to the urges to just quickly have a quick look at it, you know? But when I don't have my phone with me and I can't follow those urges through to just pick it up and look at it, and I have to stay present in a room, it has this really nostalgic feeling, which is really quite sad, of back when I was young and smartphones didn't exist and all these screens weren't around us all the time, and you had to be present and you had to find things to do. And so I want that feeling back. Also, when you don't have screens surrounding you all the time actually is longer. Like an hour can be a long time, but when you have a screen, an hour is really short. Like, try this as an experiment. Like, go a day without using screens and the day feels huge. And if time is something that's so important to us, we need to get away from the screens. So I think this is also another kind of minimalism I'd like to bring into my life, like being a phone minimalist. Don't get me wrong, I think smartphones are amazing. In fact, just the other day I was watching the old 2007 video of Steve Jobs announcing this new incredible phone thing that was going to transform phones forever. And it was genuinely, even now, even 12 years later, watching that video where he announced this revolutionary phone, it was exciting. I was amazed, thinking, yes, this is an incredible invention. But what isn't so incredible about it is the way that we actually don't own these devices. They own us on so many levels, like the way that the corporations behind it infiltrate our lives and our minds, but also just the way the addiction controls us. Like, we are not in control of these phones or ourselves with these phones. And I think it's time we stop letting our things own us. I'm going to give this a go, and I'll show you in the next video the phone that I've got to replace my smartphone.